The secret to sustainable vegan weight loss is the same as the secret to sustainable weight loss with any nutrition approach. You get to create your own rules. You can, within reason, have any kind of weight loss plan that you want, and that's actually the one you should follow, so it gives you the best possible chance of adherence, consistency, compliance, and therefore sustainability. If you don't want to cut out carbs like all the keto heads advise, you don't have to do that. If you don't want to skip breakfast because you hate the idea of intermittent fasting, guess what? You don't actually have to do that either. If you've got a low fitness level, or frankly you just detest cardio, or you're coming back from an injury, you don't have to be at the gym doing the spinning class or Orange Theory 4 or 5 times per week. And I think this is probably a difficult idea for people to wrestle with, because we love rules, we love templates, we love models for our success. Frankly, we love just being told what to do, especially if admittedly we don't have extensive nutrition or exercise knowledge ourselves. And that's fair enough, right? We need frameworks to know where to actually start. At the same time though, could you be threatening your own consistency and therefore sustainability by being so dogmatic, so do or die about an approach that you don't even like following? Or perhaps overall you do quite like the method you're following, but one small tweak would make your life significantly easier and then 10x your adherence, compliance, and therefore consistency, sustainability rather. So with me personally, I stumbled across this whole foods plant-based methodology and I was like, this is amazing, this totally resonates with me. But about 6 months into my journey, I was 10 or 12 kilos down, really chuffed about that, obviously really delighted with that. At the same time though, I was like, as much as this resonates with me, it clearly has changed my life. This isn't going to be realistic to maintain in its Puritan form. Like the textbook whole foods plant-based rules, no salt, no oil, no sugar, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, it's not going to be practical. One day, for instance, I wanted to incorporate bran flakes because I thought in the grand scheme of cereal products, these are relatively high in fiber, they're low in caloric density. Yes, they're processed, so there's some sugar and maybe some other additives added, admittedly. But I think as an alternative, a very convenient alternative to oatmeal, this would be a great option for me. I also loved muesli. Many muesli products are full of goodness, not too messed around with. But even the cleaner ones, quote unquote, well, some of them have a little bit of sunflower oil around the raisins. Well, that's treasonous by conventional whole foods plant-based standards, right? Well, at some point I said, I don't care, right? I know my diet is incredibly healthy overall. I'm still mostly focused on the whole foods. And I could feel that boundary to where my perfectionism or my puritanism with the whole foods plant-based ideology, let's say, I could feel it getting to a point of neuroticism that was potentially going to throw me off altogether and prevent me from just sticking to this overall. I think that's when I started to realise it. Like, it's so funny replaying it. It's not profound at all to me at the time. I look back and I'm like, yeah, duh, well done, Ryan. Obviously, really profound insight there. But it was a big epiphany to me at the time. I think that's when I realised, okay, yes, we do need these models. I do need frameworks and templates for my success. But sometimes actually bending the rules without totally breaking them, but sometimes bending the rules can actually increase my compliance, my adherence, and therefore I can have a much better shot at making this sustainable for life. And that's why to this day, even though my diet probably feels like a whole foods plant-based diet, you know, relative to what others in this space are doing, other teachers in this space, maybe it looks like we're eating very similar. But despite that, I still do incorporate things like the bran flakes, like the muesli, whole wheat and rye bread, sometimes even sourdough. You know, the pastas, sometimes whole wheat, brown rice, lentil pastas, buckwheat soba noodles, love those in my stir fry, sometimes even cognac noodles, stevia, maple syrup, brown sugar to make, you know, a healthy dish, my oatmeal in the morning, to make that come alive a little bit, to make it taste good. And goodness forbid, I even eat out. Confession time. It's not a confession. I'm pretty transparent about this. I even eat out 1 to 2 times per week. I very rarely drink alcohol these days, but every now and again I do give myself permission to enjoy a cocktail, a little G&T. I had a bottle of lager over Christmas, no problem. These are not things I obviously want to shine a spotlight on. I don't want to condone the alcohol consumption, albeit very often for me, frankly. I just want to be transparent with you about what this sort of rule-bending attitude that I have looks like in my day-to-day life. Not many of these things, as I say, are in the whole foods plant-based textbook, but by incorporating them now and again, what I've found is it's made this overall sort of whole food-led approach more realistic, certainly more practical, certainly, frankly, more fun, and all of these things have increased my adherence to a greater overall diet. And we always hear this trope, don't we? Lifestyle, not a diet. In fairness, I say trope, it's a good maxim, but this is what this looks like for me. This is how I took what I felt to be an incredible but admittedly slightly impractical nutrition approach, and then I made the tweaks that I thought would allow this to be sustainable for me personally. Not for you, but for me personally. That's why, for me, the secret to sustainable weight loss is to take a model, take an approach that you largely agree with, in this case, for me, whole foods, plant-based, give it the tweaks that I feel are appropriate / allowable, let's say. There's certain tweaks people might propose that I'd be like, no, that's too unhealthy. I'm not going to go in that direction. That's too much rule bending. But appropriate and allowable for me personally, and just trying to find that intersection. This is the game, right? This is the game to consistency. This is the secret to consistency. Trying to find that intersection between what's optimal, what the textbook quote unquote shows, and what's actually going to be realistic and practical in your life. So my polite advice to you would be, if I may, ask yourself, what can I do to make this process of losing weight sustainable for me personally? If you're like me and you value very, very simple meals, good. Identify that and dismiss any elaborate recipes that are likely to make this too complex. Or do you look at something like the starch solution, which is another popular version of a plant-based diet, and think, that's cool, that's a philosophy that resonates. It feels though like it might be a little bit too low in fat for my liking. I heard I need those healthy fats. That's exactly how I felt, so then I incorporated small amounts of nuts, seeds, avocado, etc. The beautiful thing is, once you realize that weight loss just comes down to you being in a calorie deficit, you get to remove any dogmatic allegiance to one particular nutrition methodology, one particular exercise protocol, and you get to ask yourself, what do I actually want to do? What will I find sustainable? Now, obviously, under scrutiny, some approaches are clearly better than others. My message here is not, if you like burgers, you should go and eat burgers all day, and as long as you're in a calorie deficit, that's good, you'll lose weight. George is laughing behind the camera because he's like, yeah, that sounds like a good weight loss plan to me. Greedy git. Greedy swine back there. No, like, I still encourage you, obviously, to make healthy choices, to eat as quote-unquote cleanly as you possibly can, to do some movement, to do some exercise. The point here is you can, or my argument is, you can, within reason, design the weight loss plan that you actually want. In fact, it's not just that you can. My point today is rather you should do that, because having a plan that you are happier to adhere to quite obviously can do wonders for your consistency and therefore sustainability. So that's it from me. Hopefully some food for thought there. And if you're ready to lose 4 to 8 pounds every single month until you reach your ideal healthy body weight, all whilst eating a healthy vegan diet that feels realistic, practical, and therefore sustainable to you personally, click the link in the description box down below, fill out the form on that webpage. I'll be in touch to tell you more about what it looks like to work with me one-on-one. See you soon.